All right, folks, you ready to dive into some serious controversy? We're talking about Trump's latest pick for Attorney General. And let me tell you, this one is a real head-scratcher. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, because we are about to unpack a political storm.
You know what's really interesting about this nomination? It's not just the usual partisan back and forth. We're talking about allegations, misconduct. We're talking potential conflicts of interest, resistance from both sides of the aisle even.
Yeah, it's definitely more complicated than just political leanings. So today we're doing a deep dive into Trump's choice, Matt Gaetz, former congressman now nominated for Attorney General. But before we jump into all the controversy...
Right, we got to lay the groundwork. The Attorney General heads the Department of Justice, right? So that means they're in charge of all federal law enforcement agencies, FBI, DEA, you name it. It's a powerful position.
Okay, so big job in Gaetz used to be under investigation by the House Ethics Committee, no less, allegations of sexual misconduct and drug use. Now he could be leading the agency that investigated him.
Yeah, that House Ethics Committee is an interesting thing. It's an internal body in the House of Representatives. They investigate ethical violations by their own members.
So their findings could actually be a big deal, even if they don't lead to like formal charges or anything.
Exactly, and it makes you wonder what their investigation found, what's in those reports, and how could it affect his chances of confirmation?
Right, because if he is confirmed, just imagine. Gaetz would be in charge of the agency that investigated him.
Talk about a conflict of interest. It really raises questions about impartiality and accountability within the Justice Department as a whole.
And adding to the drama, some Republican senators are expressing serious doubts about Gaetz already. Even big names like Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins.
Right, and don't forget he needs a majority vote in the Senate. To be confirmed, if those Republicans waver, his path to confirmation is going to get really rocky.
One GOP senator even said Gaetz' nomination is in serious trouble. And get this, Kevin McCarthy, former Speaker of the House, he doesn't think Gaetz can get the votes he needs either.
Wow, so this could be a big setback for Trump. It definitely raises questions about his judgment, his decision-making process, all of that.
And, you know, this isn't the first controversial pick either. Trump has nominated some other interesting figures, like Pete Hegseth for the Pentagon, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Health and Human Services.
It's a pattern, isn't it? It makes you wonder what his strategy is.
Yeah, is he intentionally trying to provoke a reaction? Or is there something else going on here?
These nominations are definitely stirring the pot, creating tons of tension and debate in the Senate. It wouldn't be surprising if this leads to a showdown between Trump and his own party even.
It's like a political thriller unfolding in real time. Buckle up, folks, because this is just the beginning. We'll be back soon to unpack even more of this story. This whole situation really highlights the Senate's role. They have to confirm presidential appointments. It's like a check on the president's power.
It's crucial they make sure the people in these positions are not just qualified, but also ethical, you know?
It's not just a rubber stamp. They have to really vet these nominees.
Yeah.
And this isn't just about Gaetz either. This affects the whole Justice Department and how much the public trusts our legal system.
Exactly, if the Attorney General seems compromised. Or like they're driven by politics. It could really damage people's faith in the legal system. Like,
Wow.
Is it really fair and impartial? That's a dangerous path.
Yeah, it's definitely bigger than just one person's ambition. But let's think about this from another angle. What if these picks are a reflection of Trump's base? Maybe he's trying to appeal to the people who want to shake things up in the system, you know?
That's a good point. A lot of people are disillusioned with how things are, and they might see these nominations as a way to disrupt the system. But will it actually lead to positive change or just more chaos? That's the question.
It's a gamble for sure. And what if it doesn't pay off? What if Gaetz isn't confirmed? What happens then? Does Trump pick someone else? Does the position just stay empty? What about the Justice Department in the meantime?
That's the big question if Gaetz fails. It's a major setback for Trump. He'd have to find someone else who's not only qualified, but who the Senate will actually approve, which could be really tough right now.
Yeah, finding someone who can handle this situation won't be easy. And while they search for a new candidate, the Justice Department is stuck without a leader.
And that has consequences. It could make it harder for them to do their jobs. Investigations might be delayed. Legal processes could slow down. It could even affect morale in the department.
So we're talking about gridlock at the highest level of law enforcement. This has big implications for the future of the Justice Department.
And for the balance of power in the government. You have the president trying to choose people who will support his agenda, but the Senate is supposed to scrutinize those choices and make sure those people are actually fit for the job.
It's checks and balances in action. But it's kind of scary too, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just happening behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Social media is blowing up. Everyone's talking about Gaetz. News is covering every detail. People are forming their own opinions. It's a story that's capturing the whole country's attention.
It reminds us that we're not just watching this happen. What happens in Washington affects us all. We have to stay informed, talk about it, and make our voices heard.
Exactly. We can't just sit back and be passive. We all have a role to play in holding our leaders accountable and deciding what kind of country we want.
Well said. Okay, so back to the nomination. There's another piece of the puzzle we haven't mentioned. Remember the House Ethics Committee
Yeah.
and their investigation into Gaetz?
Oh, yeah, that's the big one. Some senators are actually pushing for the committee to release their findings on Gaetz.
What do you think we might find in those reports? And how could they affect his chances of confirmation?
That's what we're going to dig into next. What could those findings reveal?
It could change everything, folks. Stay tuned. Okay, so this House Ethics Committee report, it could be a real game changer. What kind of information could be in there that would really sink Gaetz's chances?
Well, it could have all the details of the allegations against him, witness testimonies, summaries of the evidence, maybe even recommendations for what to do next. If it's really bad, it could be the end of his nomination.
Ethics report derails Gaetz' nomination. That would be a huge headline, a major blow to Trump's plans. But even if it's not like a smoking gun, wouldn't just the suspicion of wrongdoing be enough for some senators to vote against him?
Oh, absolutely. The Senate Judiciary Committee, they're the ones who hold hearings on these nominations. They would definitely grill Gaetz about the report. They'll want to know what the allegations are, how he responds to them, and if he thinks it'll affect his ability to be Attorney General.
Those hearings could get pretty intense.
It can be. Yeah, it's a high-pressure situation.
So let's say he makes it through the hearings somehow, and the Senate actually votes to confirm him.
Then what?
Could he still face legal challenges?
Definitely there could be challenges related to the allegations, especially if new evidence comes out, or if any of the alleged victims decide to sue him. And there's also the issue of conflicts of interest. Because of his involvement in past investigations, that might now fall under his authority as Attorney General.
So even if he gets confirmed, it might not be over. This whole thing is so messy, it's hard to predict what's going to happen.
It really is the Gaetz nomination. It's
Right.
a perfect example of the political divide in this country. You have people who value party loyalty above everything, and those who prioritize ethics and the rule of law. It's almost like a battle for the heart of American democracy.
Wow, and we're all part of this battle, aren't we? We need to stay informed, have these tough conversations, and hold our leaders accountable.
Absolutely. The decisions our leaders make affect all of us. We have to make sure they're upholding our values, the principles that this country was founded on.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the key things you want our viewers to take away? What should they be watching for as this story develops?
Okay, so first keep an eye on that House Ethics Committee report. What it says could make or break Gaetz's nomination. Second, watch those Senate Judiciary Committee hearings closely. They'll give you a good sense of Gaetz's character and whether he's really qualified for this job. And lastly, don't forget the bigger picture. This is about more than just one guy. This nomination highlights a fundamental division in our country, and the outcome will have consequences far beyond the Justice Department.
It's a story that's just getting started, and we'll be here to analyze every twist and turn. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And as always, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.